Is it working? Okay, I think it's on. All right, everybody. This is my October workshop, and since only one person came last time, we're going to talk about credit cards again, in case anyone has questions. But I'm going to go over the same material that I had last time, and I'll post it to my blog. Have any specific questions about travel credit cards before? Yeah.
How is it going to work over like which are the best for? Is it more kind of
Sorry, what happened? Okay, sorry. Something happened. I think it's so. Yeah.
Like, is it one kind of go for, or is it better to just kind of one and say the whole? For that one, or like your experience with the ones?
Okay. Did you have anything that you're specifically wanting to learn about with credit card?
I have a couple of questions actually now that I think about it. So I'm wondering, like, with international credit cards as opposed to regular credit cards, are they the same? They work slightly different? And another thing I'm wondering, how do those affect with like Apple Pay?
Oh, Apple Pay.
So those would be my concerns and like what I would be wondering, because I'm one of those people who tries to never have a credit card on me if I can help it.
Yeah. So I know Apple Pay, you just store your card numbers on it, right?
Yeah, you store the card, like kind of scans it and everything, and then when you go somewhere, you can just like tap it,
right?
And then or just hold down like the Touch ID button, and it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't think that affects anything to do with like meeting spending bonuses or getting the things. I'll have to look into that. If there's any special, like, if Apple Pay has any like deals with different airlines for miles.
Because it should, like, you can put in like regular cards and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
there might be promotional stuff too. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything specific? You're just curious. Okay. So some of the things I want to go over, I'll just go over it now because it kind of gets all over the place, is should I get a travel credit card? Which card should I get? And then things to know about credit with and travel credit cards. So should I get a travel credit card? Travel cards are different than regular credit cards because you're typically required to have a higher credit score before you're approved for one. So you can't just say like, oh, I'm ready to get a credit card because I want to travel, and you have never had a credit card before in your life. Like, you're not going to get approved for any of them. You have to have some credit history at the very least. I think we'll go over this a little bit later, but you need at least 700, typically a score of 700 to qualify for most of the travel cards. So what are your credit and spending habits? So if a lot of travel credit cards require a minimum spending bonus. So like in order to get the 50,000 miles, the however many thousand miles, you have to spend like $2,000 in the first 3 months or $5,000 in the first 3 months, depending on the card that you apply for and the bonuses that they offer. So if you aren't able to spend that much money in the first 90 days of you having the card, then you probably won't get the bonus and you won't get the value from the deal. So that's something to take into consideration. Know your credit, so you should be able to know if you have a score that's good enough for these agencies and the companies that do it. So you should be already keeping track of your credit history, your credit score. A lot of banks will offer you your free credit score, credit report, at least once every 6 months, once a year. And it's not like freecreditreport.com. I think I have a couple Barclays cards, and Barclays will give you your FICO score whenever you want, essentially now. Yeah, and spending habits, make sure that you can pay off your card. Okay, that's so ugly, sorry. Yeah, make sure you can pay off a credit card. So I think a lot of you are pretty more established in your careers and life. You're not just like starting out like students, and a lot of people that ask me questions about this. But it's important to know if you can handle a credit card. So even if you might be able to, having a travel card might not be the best for your first card if you don't know if you're going to pay it all off in a month or how you deal with that sort of thing, the deadlines. So the first thing you should do is learn about how credit works and how credit cards affect your credit score. So every application, every credit card application you do, it hits your credit score takes a hit of 2 to 3 points. So typically in the credit card game, the churning credit card churning game, people will do like 5 applications, up to 5 or 6 applications in one day, because your credit score will show the same. If you apply for like these 5 cards in a row and it was like 720, each application gives you a hit of 2 to 3 points. So instead of dropping it down to like 700, you'll still be showing at a 720 when you apply for the card. So, and a lot of people that really do it religiously will apply every 90 days, because that's when your score starts to go back up again. Because the ding of 2 to 3 points doesn't last very long, but it's just a temporary thing. Let's see. So some of my favorite blogs for this type of beginner thing are millionmilesecrets.com and then Mile Value. Million Mile Secrets has a lot of beginner articles. I'll post the link on the blog. Like there's one here, the 5 dangers of applying for credit cards, applying for lots of cards. It talks about how that impacts your score, like we just said. Not paying your balance in full can affect your financial history and all of that. You end up spending more than you would normally do if you have like that amount to hit. You're like, oh, I need to. Sometimes it's easy to say like, oh, I need to spend $2,000, so I'm just going to buy these like $600 concert tickets or this festival. Or I don't know. Like some people really get trapped in that mindset. There are some tricks to meeting the spending requirements, and it's called manufactured spending, where there are different ways. Like Bluebird is a debit card with American Express that you used to be able to. Now it's a little trickier to use, and I've done this once or twice, but you can load it. You can buy vanilla reload cards. Like there's just this reload card at CVS and 7-Eleven, and you can load it onto your debit card. But you can buy the reload cards with the credit card, load it to the debit card, and use the debit card to pay off your credit card. So you're not really spending a lot of money.
You just laundering
it. Sort of. Yeah. And when I read about this in the blogs, they say, it's up to you to decide where you draw the line and what's ethical and what's not. I did it a couple times, but it just got sketchy, and I stopped. But I mean, that's something that's out there in the miles world, and that's what a lot of people do with credit cards. Some people have done Amazon payments, but that loophole is kind of closed, because you can pay person A that pays person B that pays person C that pays person A, to just move the money around between 4 different people on Amazon payments without charging you money. There are a lot of different theories and things you can do. But it's complicated and it's tricky. The ethical line is very fine in that area. So I wouldn't recommend getting a credit card assuming that you're going to do manufactured spend to meet your requirements. But if you are interested, there are things out there that you can find. And I wouldn't quite call it laundry.
It's not, well, I don't want to get into it.
No.
The company
it's big on the blog.
Yeah, the company I work at, we also deal, the company for my day job, it's like a software development company, but we also are partnered with a payment processing company.
Oh, okay.
So I've heard this theory before, but on like a much larger scale. And a company trying to do that to launder money. And I just thought, oh my gosh, it's this company I worked with trying to do that.
Yeah, well, like Bluebird would limit it to like $500 a month or something like that. Like there's only so much that you can do. Yeah. But it would help you meet the requirement. So another thing that this blog post talks about is that your credit score matters, so keep track of that. A score of 650 is better than a score of 550, and a score of 750 will get you, the higher your score is, the lower interest rates you'll get. So that's also better when you're not sure if you can pay it off every month. But there is a limit. There's a threshold that said, for example, if a retired person with a credit score of 830 applies for credit cards and finds her score has dropped to 790, she's no worse off because she still gets access to the lowest interest rate. There is one other thing though. If you're going to buy a house or a car or make some big purchase in the next 2 years, be careful with applying for lots of credit cards, because the loan companies and the banks don't like to see a lot of dings on your report, so they don't want to see that you've opened so many lines of credit in the last couple of years. So they'll view your credit report when you apply for a home loan. And some people have been able to still get home loans even though they have tons of credit cards, but it's something that you have to be cautious about. You know, think about, okay, if I want to, apply for a house or a car loan in the next couple of years, I won't apply for 5 cards every 3 months for the next 2 years. A few cards a year I think is all right, but that's something that the blogs always caution about. Let's see. There are some other posts that talk about credit score. So this one post here on mile value I really like, because it has this nifty pie chart that talks about how your FICO score breaks down. And this is good to know in general, whether or not you're going to do the miles game. So there's this blog post from milevalue.com called Beginner's Introduction to Travel Credit Cards. And so they have this, you can't really see it, but how does it work? There's a pie chart that breaks down your FICO score. So the biggest portion of your score is 35%. Let me make this bigger so you can see. Can you guys see that? So 35% of your score is your payment history. So that's making sure that you're paying on time, and paying in full is better as well. That'll boost up your score. 30% of your credit score is the amount you owe. So that's your ratio of how much credit you have to how much you've spent. And credit card companies, the ideal ratio is like 10 to 20%, and anything more than that will kind of affect your score in different ways. Of course, 0 is good, but then if you're not using your cards, then that is also bad in a certain way. But anyway, I've also learned that you can't just use one card and have like, okay, I have like $25,000 of worth of credit on 5 cards, and I have only like, I don't know, like $4,000 put on one card, and your ratio overall is what, like less than 10%. But at the same time, the companies like to look at your individual card ratio. So even if you have a 0 ratio, like you've spent 0% of your credit limit on the other 4 cards, you have 90%, utilization on one card, and that negatively affects your score as well. So there are a lot of little different nuances and things. So it's good to just have as little on there as possible, of course, and only spend what you have and pay it off every month. But that's 30% of your score is that ratio. 15% of your score is the length of your credit history. So if you're in your 20s, like there's no way, or there's almost no way that you can get, especially early to mid 20s, that you can get an 800 or something like that. So typically, if you have good credit in your 20s, you'll be somewhere in the mid 700s, like low to mid 700s. Some people that have really good careers and make a lot of money, they can get that boosted just because they have a higher, get like $50,000 or $100,000 and things like that. But so don't be alarmed if your length of credit report that says like that this is something that's negatively affecting your score. I like to use Credit Karma and Credit Sesame. Those are 2 websites that simulate your credit score. So you put your information in, but it's not your official FICO score. So it could vary like from like 2 points to like 20 points. I don't know. It's not your exact score, but they keep track of your credit report and they simulate what they think the calculations are for the 3 credit agencies that come up with your score. So again, it's Credit Karma and Credit Sesame. And they'll tell you, they'll break it down for you, and they'll tell you like, oh yeah, your length of credit history is negatively affecting your score, but really it just means you're young. So I think, because sometimes there's nothing you can do about it if your credit history is only like 5 years old, if you're only 23, because you couldn't get a credit card before you were 18 unless you have a special connection. 10% of your credit score is also new credit. So So whether or not people are still opening lines of credit out to you. And then another 10% is types of credit. So if you have student loans and credit cards, they like to see that kind of diversity of of debt that you have. Another interesting thing that I've discovered that I haven't seen in the blogs is that when you apply for so many cards or so many lines of credit, I think for me it was 19. So they include each student loan that you have for each semester counts as one line of credit, and each credit card is one line of credit. Whether or not you've closed it, it counts as a line of credit that someone has lent to you. Once you pass that threshold, all of a sudden it'll be like, congratulations, people want to lend you money, so we're gonna boost your score up by like 40 points. So that's really, really a cool thing. Not something you should aim for. It's like, oh, I want 19 credit cards. But as you are responsible and get credit cards and enter this field or whatever you want to call it, that will positively affect your score as long as people are willing to lend to you. All right. Zoom back out. So this Smile Value blog post talks about how credit cards affect your score. So again, they talked about applying for credit cards, getting new credit lines. Getting a new credit line will raise your credit score because it opens up, it increases your credit ratio, utilization ratio.
The overall line.
Yeah, the overall amount of credit that you have. Canceling credit cards also is a big thing that people wonder about. Like they wonder, can I get this travel credit card and then cancel it right away? Well, the answer in short is no, because if you cancel it within, I'd say to be safe, 6 months. If you cancel it within 6 months of opening it, they can take your miles back and they can say, you're just trying to game us. So you're not really trying to be a customer. And how it works is actually the banks purchase miles from the airlines. And then they decide how to distribute the miles that they've purchased. So it's not like you're getting miles directly from the airline. So it's kind of a business partnership in that way. So they really want they want to get your business out of this. And if you cancel a card within 6 months, they don't like that. And they have an agreement with the airlines that they can take your miles back. What I would recommend, a lot of these credit cards will come with like your first year, the annual fee is waived. Like that's one of the benefits of most miles credit cards. So I wait until the annual fee hits. Some people like to just count till 11 months and cancel it then. I'll wait till the annual fee hits because sometimes you'll get like an extra 10,000 points or whatever. They don't take those back. And you just call them and say, hey, I noticed that my annual fee is hit and I didn't use the card much, or I didn't fly on this airline very much, and I just like want to cancel the card and I want to not pay the fee. So then they'll typically reverse the fee and cancel your card, or you can also talk to them. And sometimes if you've used the card a lot, you talk to them, negotiate with them a little, they can give you bonuses. Like they'll say, okay, if you pay the fee and spend another $2,000 in the next 3 months, we'll give you an extra 20,000 miles or something like that. Or sometimes they'll just say, okay, if you keep the card, we'll waive the fee for you. And that's a good thing.
It's extremely easy to haggle a credit card company.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously easy.
But luck of the draw. There's a phrase in the travel blogosphere that's called hang up, try again.
Oh. I can see that.
Like sometimes you have to talk to 2 or 3 agents, customer service agents, before you get someone that knows what they're doing, whether it's the credit card companies or the airlines themselves. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, it's always worth calling a couple times. I get a lot of anxiety talking on the phone with people I don't know, so sometimes I'll just call once, and if it doesn't work, I'll cancel it. But that's just me. So, yeah, but canceling cards is something I get a lot of questions about. So I'll wait, and typically they'll just reverse the fee, especially if it hasn't been a month yet. Like as soon as you see the fee, the sooner the better. And you'll still keep the benefits. Like sometimes United will mail you extra like lounge passes, and so I'll get them in the mail and then be like, oh hey, I realized I got this in the mail and I need to cancel the card. They'll let you keep it. So you get the bonus like 2 years in a row for those types of things. And another good trick or something to think about, when you cancel your card, it doesn't, if you've had it for at least a year, it doesn't affect your credit in the sense that like it doesn't give you a ding on your account, but it decreases your credit utilization or the amount of credit that you have, which increases your utilization ratio. So one way to get around this is if you have another credit card with any of those banks, you can ask them to transfer your line of credit to another card. And that way you keep your credit line overall with all your cards at roughly the same amount. They still have to have like $200 to $500 on the account, depending on the bank. They have to have a certain amount of credit, a limit on your account in order to close it. But a lot of times, like I've had, like $6,000 limit card, and I've transferred like $1,500 to another one, and then the $500 stayed on the card or limit, so they could cancel it. And then that way, it doesn't affect your score very much at all. So
Nice.
you have to remember all this though. So it's really important to document like what day you signed up for the card, what day you canceled the card, and make sure you get all the points that you're supposed to get and all of that. So if you're not that meticulous, this could be a tricky thing for you to get into. If you're planning on canceling. Some people think the annual fee is worth it. I think in one case is the hotel cards. A lot of hotel companies will give you like a free hotel night for renewing, for paying the annual fee. So the first year, the annual fee will be waived, and then every year you renew, you get 1 or 2 free nights at any of the rooms or in the lower level rooms, depending on the hotel company. So I see them between $69 and $99 for the average travel card. A lot of hotels will have lower fees, like $39 or $49. I think for IHG, it was about like $50 or $60, and I get a free night, and that's really cheap. You get a free night in any of their hotels. So typically that's like what, $100 to $200 a night. So if you travel a lot, you're going to need a hotel. That's something to think about. So yeah, canceling. Does anyone have any questions about canceling cards? That's a big topic in this area. Okay. Yeah, just remember to keep track of those dates. Oh, another thing with dates and credit cards, the 90 days, when you have to hit a certain spending threshold to get the bonus, that starts from the day you applied for the card, not the day you get the card or activate it. So 90 days is at 3 months. You have to exactly count 90 days from the day you applied for the card. Even if you get it 2 or 3 weeks later, then that means you really have 2 months to hit the spending requirement or something like that. So that is another important date to keep track of, another reason to mark the days that you applied for the card.
Phone reminders.
And if you're cutting it close, like you want to get a credit card now for Christmas travel, that might not be feasible because it's October, and by the time you get the card and meet the spending requirements, how it typically works with most airlines and most bonuses is you get the bonus after the spending, the month ends, so the billing cycle that you hit the spending threshold in ends. So if you hit it like 1 day into the 3rd month, you've met the requirement, but you're not going to get that 50,000 miles for another month because you're 1 day in, so you get it 30 days later or something like that. So you just have to be very aware of things and give yourself enough time to build up the miles that you want. Make on-time payments. That's another thing that this blog post says raises your score. Check your credit card. It says, this is a really important section here. Do not get a credit card if. Do not get a credit card if you will spend more on the card than you do by carrying around currency and paying for things in cash. Do not get a credit card if you will not pay the bill in full each month to avoid interest charges. And especially with the travel credit cards, the interest rates vary from like 14 to 25%. And so those are the higher interest rate cards in general. If you don't, then there's no need to worry about it, but there will always be at least like 1 month, I feel like, that everyone will have to pay at least some like interest charge or something. Like it just happens. Even if you pay on time, sometimes interest gets in there. I don't know, just be careful. Don't get a credit card if you will need a major loan in the next 24 months. So this is a second source telling you, be aware of the things on your credit card from the application. It says the credit pull from opening a card stays on your credit report for 24 months. It talks about credit card basics. So it says things to consider when you decide to get a card is the sign-up bonus, category spending bonuses. So some cards will say like, if you use your card to buy make purchases at restaurants and dining, then you get 2 extra points per dollar that you spend. If you pay with gas, or use it to pay for gas, you get 5% extra, and so on. Be aware of that so you can get the maximum bonus from your cards. Know about the card perks. So some cards will offer different bonuses aside from the miles, like free lounge access or free one-time use lounge access at the airport. So if you have a long layover, you can enter the United Club. I don't like flying United, but these United Club passes. So sometimes if I'm in the same terminal or if it's easy to get to, I'll stop there for a long layover. I don't know how many of you saw my post on Facebook where they thought I was 16 and they wouldn't let me in. So, yeah, I have to show my ID. Anyway, so a lot of times they will offer free snacks, sometimes free food, not always, and free drinks. So all of them will offer free drinks, alcoholic or not. So you can get, your Shirley Temple, what I get. Whatever you want. The United Lounges always have like Milano cookies and like different, depending on the time of day, they'll have like cheese and crackers, grapes, breakfast food, whatever. They'll have snacks. So not typically a full meal, but really good snacks and free and all you can eat. And if I have a really long layover, I'll get like a bunch of extra and I'll put some in my purse. And I'll get more and I'll put some more in my purse. For the flight,
yes,
like that. Yeah, of course.
For the road.
Yeah, but it's worth it. If it's free, if you have a free pass. So I don't know. That's just me. So I like free stuff. So yeah, my sister's laughing. She's worse than me. If someone tells her she'll take a handful of candy from the restaurants, the mints. And they'll say, "Oh, take all you want," and she'll be like, well, when I travel, I carry Ziploc bags around in general, just for, you never know when you'll need one. So I do have it. Maybe we should go over that next time. It's what to pack or how to pack well. I think that's a good topic. Yeah. Well, because I never check luggage because every time I've ever checked luggage, something bad has happened, even if it's free. So even though I get perks from having credit cards, free check luggage and things like that, I try never to do it just because I don't trust that, you have to go through TSA agents and the baggage carriers, handlers from the different airline carriers. And I've just had a lot of bad luck with that. So. Yeah. And another good trick with that, actually, is kind of off topic, but I like to carry around zip ties, small zip ties, because the TSA locks, they can unlock it, lock it, they can break it, whatever. It's not really secure because they have one key that's supposed to be able to open all the locks, and that allows them to go through your luggage as if it wasn't locked in the first place. So if you have a zip tie, they know that it's a hassle to cut open, and it's a hassle because you're not going to be able to put it back on. And for the most part, since I've done that, I have had nobody touching my suitcase. And when you get it in the baggage claim, you have to file within 24 hours if someone's stolen something from your luggage. And who thinks to open your luggage right there? You don't. It's not until you get home that you figure out stuff's missing sometimes. And if the zip tie is clipped, someone's been through it. So that's something else to be aware of. So. Yeah, and I carry it around too because sometimes they'll have to gate check your baggage to your carry-on to baggage claim, and so zip ties help people from going through it even when it's not being chosen to do. So anyway, so types of credit cards. Let me see where I put that down. So what card should I get? That depends on where you want to go. The different airlines have different alliances, and different airlines are better for flying to different places. Because for some companies, one example is I think American Airlines is the best for flying to Europe right now. American and US just merged, and US Airways no longer exists as of last week. So it's all US Airways. And on American, or all American now, they have off-peak awards, which means when it's off-season and it's not the peak travel season, they will offer you pretty much any flight for in economy class anyway, almost any flight from anywhere in the U.S., smallest dinky town in the U.S. to the most expensive, I don't know, any town in Europe, it's 40,000 miles round trip. And typically with all airlines, the standard award is 60,000. So you need less miles to get to Europe on American. And so that's why if you want to go to Europe, I would say go on American. But it's different if you want to go to Asia because the pricing, the award pricing is different. It varies based on the airlines and the alliances they have and things like that. So for Asia, I would recommend United. I hate United. They're the absolute worst U.S. carrier to fly on with the way that customer service has been lately. But great partners like Asiana, Ethiopian Airlines, Turkish Airways. Turkish Airways has been my favorite international airline I've flown so far. I'm going to say it has something to do with the fact that they have a lot of male flight attendants, and they're all over 6 feet tall and very good-looking. No, that was just a bonus.
I think they have Singapore there.
Yes. So they have Cathay, I think, specifics. Star Alliance, yeah. I think that is, yeah. But United has a huge alliance partnership, and it costs the same miles to fly on United as it does to fly on their partners currently. And so with United, the reason I would recommend them for Asia is because you can add in, so all different airlines have different rules for different stops and different tricks and things you can do. Like it has different fare rules that if you know them, you can get milk the most out of your miles. So with United, on any of their award flights, you can have one stopover. So a stopover is any stop in any city along the way that's over 24 hours. So you can have a stopover for like 6 weeks on your way to Asia. And you can stay in Asia for another 6 weeks. Like it's 2 whole stops. So you get a stopover and 2 open jaws. So an open jaw is where you fly into one city and out of another. So you make your way between these 2 cities. So like you can fly into London and out of Paris, and that gives you the chance to catch a train, you know, if you wanted to ride a European train. And then you still have your stopover, you can stop somewhere else. And then reach your final destination. So there are these fare rules that are really cool. So I'll give you an example of when I went to Thailand. So my mom's from Thailand, and I have all her relatives there. And we went there for Christmas 2 years ago in 2013, December. And I stopped in Rome for 3 days because I had to work. So I would have stopped for 3 weeks if I could have. But I stopped in Rome for 3 days. And then you can't force a layover. You can't say, oh, I want to, you know, Rome and Bangkok, or Rome and this place in Bangkok, and stop there for less than 24 hours. A lot of times that won't work. You can't force a layover. But if you just say, what flights does United have between like Rome and Bangkok? It gave me an option to stop in Ethiopia for 23 hours. So 23 hours is not a stopover because it meets the rules, like under 24 hours for us for a layover. And it was on Ethiopian Airlines. So I flew from Rome to Addis Ababa to Bangkok on Ethiopian Airlines. So because I flew in and out of Ethiopia on their national airline, they paid for my hotel for free during the layover and my visa. So I didn't have to pay the $40 or whatever it was for the tourist visa. And then, so I took a nap, and then I just kind of explored the city. It wasn't enough to go see Lalibela or any of the cool sites, but it was staying in Ethiopia. I'd never been to Africa before, and it was just an extra stop on the way. And leaving the airport, if you have a long enough layover, layovers are the most amazing way to see the world, like if you don't have time. If you're going somewhere already and you have 8 hours in Istanbul on Turkish Airways, that's what I did on the way back, go see the Hagia Sophia and come back. Like, that, yeah, there are all these little tricks. So because United was an Ethiopian partner, it didn't matter. I was flying on Ethiopian Airlines, so they treated me like their customer, because I was, and they gave me those benefits. So United has like really great partners in that sense. So I flew from Addis Ababa to Bangkok, and then I paid my own way from Bangkok to Seoul. My family did their stopover in Seoul. And then we hung out in Seoul for a few days because I have an uncle that lives there. And then I flew from Seoul to Istanbul, stayed there for 8 hours. They have a train that goes to the airport. So I just took the train out into the city, went to see all the sites, had amazing street food, bought like my most favorite earrings. I collect earrings when I travel, like about the cheapest, coolest earrings that year there on the street. And then I flew home. And that was all on a 60,000 mile award. So it's the same price as if I just went straight from Salt Lake. to Bangkok and back. I had all those stops. I visited like 6 countries, like on the same like mileage that I would have gotten from just going one place and back. So if you guys want to go to Japan, you can go route through, typically you go through like San Francisco and then to Tokyo, but you can go through Europe and it'll cost you the same. So, you know, stop in Germany again or Italy, whatever, wherever you've ever wanted to go, you know, it's so cool. So that's
kind of a question about that. So Salt Lake is like Delta, and you mentioned previously like fare wars, like other airlines will have like try to lower like their fares at like other airlines hubs, right? So you could probably get a good deal on United from Salt Lake. Is that accurate, or is
yes. For some reason, American and Delta have like the biggest wars, but basically since Salt Lake's a Delta hub, any other airline will drop prices from Salt Lake City. Alaska a year ago had this deal where if you made any round trip from Salt Lake City, you got instant gold status. Like usually you have to fly like 30,000 miles in a year to get gold status on Alaska Airlines. But because they wanted to steal Delta customers, they were offering that kind of bonus. So that's another thing that like certain airlines will do. And then Alaska is the one that has dropped prices to Honolulu from Salt Lake because that's a Delta route usually. So Alaska dropped their prices down to the $300 and $400 range, and it's kind of stayed there except for on peak dates. So if you are looking at flights to Honolulu from Salt Lake, you'll see it around $400 if you book far enough in advance and you get the right date because of Alaska. So these fare wars and dynamics, yeah, definitely help us in the long run.
Yeah. We have to get Salon.
Did you go on Alaska Yeah, on American, it was January. I found tickets for 2 like Honolulu. So I had to stop at I had to stop in LA and Maui, but it was still like 200. I went home for a weekend. United is best for Asia. American is best to visit Europe, and this is just all in my opinion. Delta is best to visit the Pacific. Delta is kind of tricky in the mileage world. Sky points are known as sky pizzas. Like you
so unofficial.
Why it's called that? Like I'm not imposing this. This is just what people say. So I'm not. Saying, but that's just a term that is used. But with Delta, a low level award, and Delta has been devaluing like everything about their customer service lately. Like right now, you can't earn miles based on how far you fly. You earn miles based on how much money you spend. So, like, it's kind of crazy. I flew to Johannesburg from Salt Lake. I flew almost 24,000 miles, and I only earned 4,000 miles on Delta. Like, crazy. Like, that's why I don't fly them anymore. But they've also extended that into their mileage redemption program, and now they don't even say it should cost you around this much to fly to these regions. They just say, oh, just search it out and see what you can find. So they don't have an award chart, you know, that tells you, okay, this is how much. Because when you're first getting started with miles, you don't know how much is a good deal, like how many miles is what you should pay, or really great or not great for you to go to any particular place. So be very careful with Delta. But in March, I was looking for tickets to Palau. Palau is a very tiny island in the South Pacific, or a group of very tiny islands, and they have lakes with jellyfish that don't stink that you can swim with. So I wanted to go there like my whole life, yeah. And I had a friend from USC who is a news anchor on an island close to Palau, Saipan, 2 hours from there. And so we were going to meet in Palau together, and I was trying to figure out my flight, and I didn't actually book this, but I had found tickets. So it's typically like 150,000 miles to fly to the South Pacific, to these tiny islands. You'll never see it cheaper than $1,900 to fly to Palau from Salt Lake City. Like, it's just a very expensive place to go, and you have to make a lot of connections. I found a mileage deal for 70,000 miles. to fly from Salt Lake City to Palau and back. Like, that was amazing. And it was only like one day out of all the year, like the whole year, but it was kind of around the dates I needed to be there. And I don't know, it was just amazing to see that, like, hey, sometimes you can get a good deal. So, so I would say if your dates are flexible, Delta, and you're willing to look, Delta has really good occasional deals for mileage redemptions to the Pacific. But you also have to jump on it right away because they do. Delta is one of the airlines that does this thing where if you search a flight a few times, it'll jack up the price. Yeah, and sometimes you can get away with that by incognito mode. So if you think Delta's doing that to you, do like on Google Chrome, it's Control-Shift-N, and then you'll see the real price. Yeah, and sometimes if you're logged into your Delta account, it'll show you power or mileage like redemption options. So just play around with Delta because it's kind of weird. But if you have the time to do the research, you can get some really good deals on Delta. But I wouldn't recommend them for the number one. So the first thing to do when you're thinking about getting a travel credit card is just to figure out where you want to go so you can figure out what kind of miles you want. Another thing to think about is that you might not always want to just get a credit card with the airline. So if you are not sure if you want to get the United Airlines credit card, but you want to get a travel credit card, the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card or the Chase Inc. Business Cards, they give you ultimate reward points. And so ultimate reward points can be transferred to one of several airlines, Southwest, United, British Airways, Virgin Atlantic, Virgin America. You have a lot of options. So if you're not sure and you're like, maybe I'll want to use a flight to go to Asia and get United miles, but maybe I just need South points here. But you're not sure, you can never go wrong with one of those bank cards. So
is that a Visa card or a Sapphire?
It's a MasterCard now. It used to be Visa, but now it's all MasterCard with Chase, with that kind of Chase card. Yeah. So the two most common that you can transfer to other airlines are the Chase cards and then the membership rewards with American Express. So there are a handful of American Express cards like the Gold card and different ones, the Silver, there are a whole bunch. But the membership rewards cards, you can transfer those miles to a bunch of other airlines like Delta and also British Airways and things like that. So that's something to think about as well if you're not sure what you want to do. And this is like, I've seen a lot of airways bonuses where on like American Express, it's like transfer your points to British Airways and get 25% additional point transfer, 1,000 to get 1,200, 1,500 miles by transferring 10,000 American Express points to British Airways. Oh, that's another thing. British Airways, so a lot of international cards that aren't U.S. carriers do have good benefits as well, so they're worth looking into. The British Airways card has been really great for me because they are partners with American Airlines and several other airlines like Aer Lingus, and their awards are all based on distance. So it'll always cost you this many miles to fly this far. And so they have awards from Boston to Dublin, two closest places between Europe and the US, for 25,000 round trip. And that's a huge deal considering that, typically 60,000 to fly to Europe. So if you can work it and find the dates that you need, you can get a good deal with British Airways points to fly Aer Lingus from Boston to Dublin. And then from there, it's really cheap to get to the rest of Europe. So British Airways is great. And it's also, if you can get to Miami, or the southeastern U.S., it's really close to fly to the Caribbean islands. So really expensive Caribbean destinations become really cheap if you have British Airways miles, and you can find availability on your dates. So obviously you're not going to find these on Christmas or Thanksgiving, things like that. So be careful. Like, just because I say you can do this doesn't mean you can do it every day. So you're going to have to do a little research and figure out, when you can find the redemption options, but they're there, so that's a cool thing. Another type of credit card that they have in the travel world is the credit cards that give you cash back. So Cashback isn't always the best redemption opportunity because sometimes you can get, on Chase Freedom, you get $100 for 10,000 points. But if you have a Chase Sapphire preferred card or a Chase Ink card, you can transfer those Chase Freedom points to that card to transfer to United Airlines. And 10,000 points on United Airlines gets you really far. Like an example, so I use 15,000 miles to fly from Taiwan to Palau, and that let me stop in Beijing for 2 days. And when you have a stopover in Beijing, you don't need for less than 3 days, 72 hours. You can get a free transit visa and go see the sites without actually having to pay for a tourist visa to go to China. And if you don't know how much time you want to spend in China, that's kind of a good way to just kind of go see the Great Wall and come back, and whatever you want to do. So I went from Taiwan to Beijing to Palau, and I actually had a long layover in Guam and visited a friend there on the way because you have to stop in Guam to get to Palau. And that was only 15,000 miles. So that alone was worth, that plane ticket was probably like $1,200 to do all those stops. But even to just do what I wanted it to do, to just go straight from Taiwan to Palau, it would have cost like $800. So instead of getting $150 cash back on my Freedom card for the 15,000 points I earned, I transferred them to the Sapphire card to United, and then got like $1,000 worth of travel. So it's up to you how you want to do it, but I also, one of my favorite cards is the Barclays Arrival card. So Barclays is a British bank, but they have a cashback travel card. But the thing is, when you redeem, like they give you, I think it's like 5% cashback on travel or something, like however many points you have, you can redeem for cashback, kind of like the Freedom card. But when you redeem points, you get an additional like 3% back or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, but you get so much back in points, so you get your points back for redeeming. So it brings the amount you get for your points up just a little bit. So sometimes that's worth it. And you can only redeem the points on travel. So my first time getting the card, I had $600 worth of travel to redeem, like from the spending bonus. And I redeemed that on a kayaking trip that I did in Patagonia. I was there by myself, and so I paid like the extra additional fee for not having 2 people in a group, and I used that to pay for my kayaking trip. So that was really cool in Southern Chile. So there are a lot of different kinds of cards. Before you apply, I'd recommend just figuring out what you want. If you want to go the conservative route and just do cashback, nothing's wrong with that. Just know which cards are available and things like that. Another important thing is do not accept the first credit card offer that you get. And my boss did this, and it's like, why didn't you talk to me first? Because Delta will always send you, sign up for a credit card and get 30,000 miles if you do this or that. I recommend never, ever, ever signing up for any credit card bonus unless you get 50,000 points at least. So 50,000 points is a lot, but I see those bonuses for almost every airline at least once a year. Delta, I've even seen 70,000 mile sign-up bonus once. But 50,000 is a good average to shoot for.
70,000 sky cases.
yeah, but you can go to Palau on it. So, and that usually includes a stop in Tokyo. So, well, do your research. Don't just see something in the mail and apply for it. Sometimes that is the best offer, but see it and see if that's something you want to do, if the benefits are worth it, and see if there's something better out there. Because a lot of times the blogs, like Million Mile Secrets, is the best for this. They get kickbacks or whatever, like a certain percentage of something every time someone signs up for a credit card, but they will tell you up front, like, hey, this is the one that we get a commission off of, but this one is better, so sign up for this one. And they'll have the link on there. And in the forums, I love Flyer Talk, and there's MilePoint. It's just forums where all these travelers share information, and it's kind of got a lot of jargon, so I don't recommend beginners to go read it. But in there, people will post links to different credit card bonuses, and you can see if they've honored it for other people that have applied for it. And if they have, you can see if that's something you want to do. Because sometimes a link might lead you to an offer that's only available for certain types of people. But more often than not, these links, if you can see it and you don't have to log in or anything, then you can get it. So a lot of times with these blogs and forums, we'll have links to better offers than the ones that you get. up front. So just do your research first. So like if my boss would have asked me, I would have said, no, here's a link for the 50,000 card bonus. And then he could have gone to Hawaii on it instead.
Oh.
Yeah, he paid to fly Allegiant Airlines, which is a good discount one compared to Spirit, but not the best airline to fly to Hawaii in. Yeah, but what can you do? So always do research before you sign up for a card. Make sure that's the best that you can get. But if you know, sometimes like Chase is really good about this. So if you signed up for like a 40,000 mile bonus with the United card, and then like a month later you see that it's increased to 60,000 miles, if you just send a little like message to the Chase customer service saying, hey, I just got this card, but I would have waited had I known that you were gonna like increase the bonus in a couple months. Is there anything you can do for me? They'll typically give you the extra points. So that's another like thing to consider. So just because you have a card doesn't mean you should stop keeping an eye on things. Like if you see something a little better, the worst they can do is say no if you ask them to up your bonus. So that's a good thing. Also consider what airline you want, what hotel you want, if you want a hotel card. So I started out with airline cards, and then hotel cards came after. But you know, some of them have really good benefits. So my favorite one doesn't have this benefit anymore, but it was the Club Carlson credit card, and they are the Radisson chain. You know, everything Radisson, Country Inn and Suites, and all of that. They used to have this deal where if you booked more than one night on a rewards redemption, you got your last night free. So if you did a bunch of 2-night rewards, you got like the price of 2 nights for one. And so like I stayed in Iceland for 9,000 points for 2 nights at one Park Inn by Radisson hotel. And I stayed, where else have I stayed? I stayed at a ton of places because you can really stretch your miles that way. And they've discontinued that benefit on the card. But before they did, I like went and booked out a bunch of trips. Like my parents are going to Orlando in March, so I booked them a bunch of like, oh, you're going to stay here for 2 nights and here for 2 nights. And then next Christmas, not this year, but next year, we're going to Thailand again to visit family. And for Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, we're going to stay at like a nicer hotel in Bangkok. Because our family's all Buddhist there, so they don't celebrate Christmas, so it'll just be nice to be there. Yeah. So just be very, you have to plan a little bit to get the most out of these credit card bonuses. Okay, already talked about that. Oh, so as far as like finding links to better offers, one of the first like forums that I discovered on Flyer Talk was this one on British Airways. And I was looking at getting their credit card because at the time they were the only card available to U.S. citizens that had the chip in it. And certain places in Europe would not accept like swipe cards. So like one place was in France, like you couldn't buy any train tickets without a chip card. So like in the metro. So I really wanted this just so I could use it when I was going to Europe. And I discovered that there was this forum about a lot of people getting 100,000 miles on British Airways, and that's a lot. Typically, you don't see more than 50,000 on British Airways. But what it was I discovered that in this thread, what you had to do was do a dummy booking. Like sometimes I'll do this just to see what the price of a ticket will actually be. So like you put in the flights, you put in your info, and go to the end, and you just don't pay for it, just to see that final total. And now it's not back to FCC regulations that have changed, but you go to the end, and then a lot of times you'll see an ad saying, "Oh, your price for the ticket could be $1,500 instead of $1,600 if you sign up for this credit card bonus to pay for your account or pay for your ticket." So you click that link, and it takes you to like a credit card sign up page, and you don't actually have to buy a ticket. You just sign up for the credit card. So with the British Airways one, it was earn 50,000 miles after your first purchase in the first year, but you had to pay the annual fee, which was like $80. And then if you pay the annual fee the second year, you get an additional 50,000 miles. And talking about what you can do with British Airways miles going to Europe on Aer Lingus and all these other things, it was a great deal. So I got lucky there. But that's like kind of an obscure trip that you wouldn't know by reading the forums. But if you can get to that point, you can do a lot with credit cards. Let's see. Talked about spending requirements. So don't apply for a card that you can't afford. You know, I like to think of credit cards as debit cards. So like as soon as you pay, make sure you don't spend more than you have in your checking account, but at least let it hit the cycle date. Don't pay it off right away, so that it can show, your credit history can show that you have been using your card, and then pay it off as soon as you can, like after the billing date hits. It helps if you can find a way to pay your rent, your mortgage, student loans with a credit card. This is another thing with manufactured spending. Like a lot of people would use like the Bluebird cards that I talked about earlier as like a checking account to pay off their student loans. But a lot of housing management companies now will let you pay by credit card. So depends on your situation. But if you can pay your rent with a credit card, that's a good way to hit your spending bonus. And that's a good way to earn miles if you're just going to pay your rent and then pay it off. So that's really good. So benefits of the cards, again, note that not all cards will waive the annual fee. So just make sure you read all the fine print. Well, maybe not like every little last detail, but read the small print before the fine print to know what you're getting yourself into. Sometimes you can get the lounge access, and sometimes you get extra bonus points on your annual anniversary. So Club Carlson's one, they're a hotel chain, they don't give you a free night a year, but they'll give you 40,000 points every year that you renew the card. And that's worth a lot. So they'll have like some 10,000 mile redemptions and things. And it helps to know the bonuses that different chains and airlines offer. Like on Intercontinental, they do the Holiday Inn and those types of hotels. And every 2 to 3 months, they'll offer like 100 hotels across the world and the U.S. For 5,000 points a night. And so 5,000 points, if you get the sign-up bonus, it's like 90,000 points on the IHG card. You can stay at like 18. You can have 18 nights at a hotel under the promotion. So sometimes that's a good thing to do. Some credit cards have other perks like waiving global entry fees. So global entry is where you get to cut the line at immigration when you land. That also gives you free TSA pre-check, which means you don't have to take your shoes off or your laptop out of your bag or anything. You just walk through security. So that's something that's worth something to people. There are other bonuses like the American Airlines card. They allow you to get mileage discounts on certain domestic routes. It varies by month, but like it has a list of airlines, and it says this month, if you fly to or from any of these airports, you get 7,500 miles off a round trip. That's a lot. So that brings down the cost of a typical domestic round trip ticket is 25,000 miles. So that brings it down to like 17,500 miles. So that saves you a lot of miles. Typically, I wouldn't ever say to use any international airline miles domestically, because 25,000 miles is almost a ripoff when you know you can fly to Central and South America for 30,000 miles. You know, instead of flying from here to LA, you know, fly from here to Colombia. So for just a little bit more. But in this case, like if you really have to go, sometimes it's like $800 to fly from here to Savannah, Georgia. So that's a case where it might be really worth it to use the American Airlines discount to fly there. So that's another thing that the airlines aren't going to tell you that they have this bonus. Occasionally you might get an email saying, hey, here's an extra thing you can do with your credit card. But it helps to know what's out there. Let's see. So good things to know about credit scores. We talked about interest rates and buying a house. Okay, so another good thing about cards, if you're not sure what card to get, sign up for all potential airline loyalty programs and hotel loyalty programs that you could possibly want. So it doesn't hurt if you have a zero balance in the account just to have a membership with a certain airline or hotel chain, because they value loyalty a ton. So, for instance, once I was in New Orleans for a conference, and I was 20 years old, so I wasn't 21 yet. My parents had paid for the hotel, or reserved the hotel room with their credit card, but they wanted to see the card that was used to reserve the room, like there. And I obviously didn't have my parents' card with me there in Hawaii, so like they weren't going to let me check in. But because I had a Marriott Rewards account with a zero balance that I had just gotten, they said, okay, well, because you're like a valued member of the Marriott Rewards program, we're going to let you check in this time. You know, things like that. But you know what? That just makes your life a little less stressful in certain situations. You know, so they'll go a little bit further to help you, or they'll give you an extra room if they have a ton of empty rooms. They're like, oh, we noticed that you're a valued member of this program. Would you like a free upgrade to like the top floor? So sometimes they'll do that. Like I've had that happen with Club Carlson. Even when I've done the redemptions, like in Dubai, they upgraded me to the top of the Radisson Blu, like almost the top floor, and I had the best view of the Burj Khalifa. It was amazing. Yeah, and it was just because I was a member. Even though I was using miles and it was a free night, they still upgraded me. And then airlines, a lot of times if you just have a membership with them for a certain amount of time, you'll get more bonuses in the mail, or more like credit card junk mail. So a lot of people don't like this junk mail, but if you're going to sign up for a miles card, you kind of want this kind of junk mail, where this is where certain people got those 70,000 mile sign up bonuses for Delta. Because if you've had a Delta account, even if it was a zero balance, or sometimes if you have 100 points for doing something on there, you'll get extra or increased like sign-up bonus offers. So just having an account with these different airlines and companies are great. And you should also Google, like, there are certain bonuses you might be able to get for signing up for the accounts. Like Southwest will often give you 500 to 700 extra miles for signing up if you don't just sign up there. So, you know, look into it a little bit, not too much, because there isn't a whole lot of those out there, but that's something to consider when you want to sign up for a travel credit card. You can also earn miles from shopping portals. This is kind of aside from the fact, although it can help you get those increased sign-up credit card bonus offers if you have more points in your account. So even if you don't fly with an airline, almost every single airline, I'll show you here, has a shopping website. And what that means is, here's AdvantageeShopping.com, there's MileagePlusShopping.com, SkyMilesShopping.com. Like every airline program has this. Oh, the internet's really slow. Every airline has this, but basically what it is if you're going to make a purchase on a website anyway, like ModCloth is my favorite. ModCloth will often have like 2 to 5 points per dollar that you'll earn just by clicking the ModCloth link from the shopping website first. So you're going to make the purchase anyway, and even if you don't use your miles card, you go to this website, log into your miles account. Even if you have a zero balance, you can log in, and then just click the ModCloth link, and then you'll earn points for that purchase. So really great way. I've earned thousands of miles this way, like especially around Thanksgiving and Christmas. You'll get extra bonuses. Like I remember one year it was Macy's.com was offering like 15 points per dollar you spent. And the guy I was dating at the time really liked the Aqua di Gio cologne. It was like $100, so I just earned like 5,000 points right there or whatever. I don't know. Like, it's a good thing to do if you do something. So having those miles will help you get better credit card bonuses and earn miles. You also get benefit. Sometimes you get a higher boarding zone just for having a Delta account. You get zone 2 instead of zone 3, and that makes a huge difference in overhead bin space on Delta. So if you have a SkyMiles account with 0 in it, you still get a higher boarding zone sometimes. And in certain hotels, they'll give you a goodie bag. Like Holiday Inn will always give you like a goodie bag that has like a bag of chips, a water bottle, and an apple or something like that. They'll always give you something. Let's see. Keep track of all these things. Ooh, okay, this is probably the last tip that I have for tonight that I wrote down. If you are denied for a credit card bonus or credit card sign-up offer, or if you receive the pending approval one, Google the reconsideration line for these companies, these banks, and you can call them and ask, hey, I just applied for this card, and I was wondering if there's anything I needed to do to figure out if I'm approved or not, or is there anything I can do to change your mind about being declined? And a lot of times it's just like, oh, we just didn't have address verification. We don't know that you've actually lived at your house for, more than a year or something like that. Or like, we don't know how much you make. Sometimes the banks are just really lazy and they won't ask you and they'll just deny you because it's like, we don't have verification. So we're just not going to give this to this person. So sometimes that call makes a huge difference. Like the British Airways card, I wasn't going to get that one. It was pending, and they said, oh, you're a student, and you don't make that much money, and I don't think we can offer this to you. But you have really good, we have a really good history. You pay off your cards all the time, and you're a Value Cheese customer. Thank you. And I said, yes, I'm a Value Cheese customer. And actually, the reason I'm applying for this card is because I only need like a $200 limit on this card. I just need it because it has the chip, and I need it to go to Europe. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. We can't give you more credit, but here, let me move around. They took $500 or like $1,000 from my Chase Freedom card and used that credit line to open a British Airways card for me. So I didn't get additional, credit, like a credit line, but they gave me that amount so that I could get the bonus, or I got the bonus so that I could get the card. So it always helps to call. And then if you don't get someone that is very helpful, hang up, call again. so that's a very, very important thing to do when you're applying for credit cards, if you get the pending or denied thing. Yeah, and the worst they can do is say no. So if they say no, you can call again. The worst they can do is say no. So yeah. But most of the time that they just need information verification, and that's the tricky thing there. All right, I think that's all I had written down that I wanted to tell everyone about. I will post all this information on my blog with the links to everything I talked about as well. Does anyone have any other questions about like credit cards, or even just any travel questions in general, like using miles and stuff?
I have a question for that.
Yeah.
So we're going to Salon to Cape Town.
You're going? Oh my gosh! I'm so happy. Recommend in general? Okay, how many days do you have there? Okay. So are you going to be answered at all? Are you fine? What's your route? Okay, so you're not stopping in Joburg at all. Okay, and if you're not stopping there and you don't really have an itching desire to go to Kruger National Park, I would just say stay in Cape Town. They have a lot of safaris you can do just outside of Cape Town. So you can do safari. Yeah, they do. They do. I did that too. If you go early in the month, leave at 4 in the morning. No, but the boat was really rocky, and so I got seasick, and that was probably the worst part. The boats that I went on, they fit like 10 people size. So you're like not like, no, you're halfway above water, and then the person like working on deck will tell you, go down, go left, look forward, look right. They'll tell you when the sharks are coming because you can't see. So you go down and look up the direction and you see the sharks. So I'm gonna do that. You stay in the cage. Don't stick your hand out. We had to leave, but we're back about a day ahead of you after that. If you're not tired. I recommend, if you guys like hostels, amazing hostel, and it was ranked the #1 hostel in the world by, I think, TripAdvisor, one of those websites. It's called even a Waterfront, which is the cutest little like hipster place I've ever seen. Like, if you ever look at my Facebook pictures, there's an actual like sign in front of one of the markets that says, "No hipsters allowed." Like, go, like, get out of your like fuzzy like bodies and like. What do they say? Like, wait, hamsters? No hamsters. Like a hipster and a hamster. Actually, pretty similar. I don't know. Like, that's really cute.
So,
yes, penguin. Yes. So, where's my phone? Yeah. Okay, I will. It's 90 when you're going in December or November. So it's summer there. Perfect. And it's really hot. You can swim. So Boulders Beach, the and you go area. They have this thousands of like little like penguin nests, and you can't walk on the sand down there in that area because it's protected. But if you go back out to the front and walk a little bit, you can enter the beach, and you swim. Like if you go in the morning at low tide, you can see the beach all the way almost to the nest. We did that. We just like played around. Like you can swim in there and see penguins. I have videos of it. I got like dozens of videos of these penguins like swimming around me and then like walking around me and like almost biting my friend when she walked by. Like it's my screenshot for my screenshot. The thing for my wallpaper. This is like yeah. That's my favorite, one of my favorite places ever, Boulder's Beach. I have like a keychain that's actually a bottle opener shaped like a penguin. Like it's between the foot and the head. It's cute because in Europe they don't have to top like bottles for soda and juice and stuff. Yeah, it's the cutest place ever. And they have one restaurant just outside of Boulder's Beach. So I was really hungry after, and like it was in a hotel. And it's like it's gonna be pricey. It was less than $10, and it was like right out of my life. Yeah, I got like the Boulder burger. If you go play in the beach and then go there, and it's like only another 10 minutes to the Cape of Good Hope. So Cape of Good Hope is also an amazing place. It's just you go there, and there's a lighthouse at the Cape Point, and then Cape of Good Hope. You just go take a picture by the sign. You kind of walk out onto the cliff. But just feeling power, it's where the Indian Ocean meets. Feeling the power of those two meeting. It was just like one of like the most like spiritual places like, for no reason. It's like there's nothing. Yeah. Like ships, a lot of ships have wrecked in that point. But I don't know. So like that's a full day. So I went, but there was a fire. So they closed down the cable cars when I was there. But so as a Signal Peak, Signal Hill, I think it was the mountain over from Table Mountain. You can hike up there too. It's a great workout. Yeah. 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 Most people take the cable car and hike down. Yeah. It's great. And from the hostel, it's like a lot of people just would walk from the hostel and go hike up. They do that. Yeah. It's a little more commercial. A lot of safaris will be on reserves if you want to guarantee yourself to see the good animals. But I don't know, it's kind of fun anyway. Like you sit in the like open top jeeps and then you have a guide. Yeah. So we flew actually to Hoogfruit. I don't know how to Eastgate Airport. It's one of the Dutch places out there. And we went to the Kapela, which is just outside Kruger National Park. So if you go into Kruger, you have to get yellow else in South Africa. You're great. No vaccine. You also need at least 2 empty pages in your passport, or else they talked about it. Yeah. Yeah. And then like they have these cute like restaurants and stuff on Cape Catono, Camps Bay, on the backside of Table Mountain from the main part of Cape Town. Like that's a fun little beach area to just go hang out for one evening. Yeah, the winelands, like even though like I have another friend who went to visit some friends in Cape Town, and she doesn't drink alcohol either. She drinks alcohol to get great food in Cape Town or in the winelands. So if you want to go out there, you go visit the vineyards, but then have like amazing food. And you won't pay more than $12 for the most expensive steak dish you can find there. You can eat ostrich, you can eat different types of antelope. I ate hoodoo antelope, that's the most common. Like, you'll try everything there. It's amazing. Oh, okay. I have to look at my notes. in Cape Town gets booked out like a week ahead of time, but you guys have to be there. I didn't be there because it was booked. Like, you have to go, and they don't allow picture taking of their food. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I can with that restaurant for you, so you can do that. And Uber in Cape Town. Wi-Fi everywhere. Get Uber. Like it was $2 to go from the hostel. Yeah, drive on the left side, so be careful. We rented a car, so to get to Boulders Bay and the station that goes up that way, but you can rent a car, so that's what we had to do, or pay for a tour. So we rented a car, and it's really scary because going into the Cape, you have to like go up a tiny little windy road on the mountain, and there's bikers, and you have this side, and you're like gonna hit the cliff, and other people are passing it, bikers, and I kept hitting the curb and I almost got charged because it didn't look. But it was an experience to try outside. So it was really fun, like say you drove on outside.
Do you have any asking how much you pay
and that's the same price. That was what the exchange right now, so it's probably more like $150. Yeah, you pay rent if you have a credit card that has no foreign transaction fee, so that's for credit cards, no foreign transaction fee, and then it gets cheaper to pay in rent. And everyone are there on one side and Nelson Mandela on the other. It's so cool. Yeah. Yeah. You can go to a called the island where he was imprisoned. I can't think of it right now. I can't think of it. Online, it's like $11 and includes the ferry right there. They have penguins on the island, and you have it includes a bus tour of the prison, and then you come back. And that's really cool historical element. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
He does a lot of paper ones.
Yeah, they're so good. You have to go spend the whole day at Boulders Beach. Stay at the hotel if you have to. Yeah. It's great. And in that area by Boulders Beach, I got like the coolest souvenirs, like super touristy. They'll charge you like $20 for like I don't know, anything. You can bargain it down to $4. Just say like, I don't want it. And then they'll like be attractive. I don't want it. Well, have it again. Like I don't want like offer it to you for like $3. Oh, I didn't want it, but I paid you about $3 for that. Yeah. So, and my friend got really cool like thing, like some just like paint some like canvases and get some really cool things out there. Yeah. Oh, the neighbor goods market. I didn't get to go because I wasn't there on Saturday morning. There's this market on the side, I think, of Cape Town. It's called the Neighbor Goods Market, and it's like a little hipster craft market or whatever. Like, when you get there, you'll understand. It's like the little hipster details. Yeah. I like finding like just to find fun stuff. And in Victoria and Albert Waterfront, they have balls, huge Ferris wheel, a really cool running trail if you run when you travel, like all around like this commercial shopping area. And they have like the World Cup, like you'll see the World Cup stadium there. They have these two markets there though that I loved. One was a food market, an old warehouse, like an abandoned warehouse. Stalls with like small tiny businesses that made like homemade gluten-free ice cream and like bakeries and like that. Insert whatever.
Ice cream. Kind of ice cream.
Yeah, sure. But and then they have right a warehouse that has partially houses a museum and partially a crafts market. And I found like the coolest little like, I don't like necklaces very much, I just buy earrings. They have earrings that's the shape of Africa with a heart on Cape Town. And it was carved out of like medical grade steel. And it was just like the coolest thing. I have to find it. But like it was just these guys that just like carve stuff out of steel for fun. And they have like, you know, their big beards and buns and stuff. And I bought it. So really cool. They had some touristy things. They can get tourist stuff there. And they have like really cool, unique items there. Really cool handicap. Yeah, Cape Town is not enough. Really good food. Everything, like, eat out every night because you're never going to spend more than $10 a person anywhere, and often cheaper. Yeah. They have some sushi places too if you like sushi. Yeah. So, Cape Town is my favorite place that I've been so far. And before I went there, yeah, everyone said like you're gonna love it. But I do that at like every destination. Okay, I love it. Yeah, I was there 4 days actually. They have a botanical garden because I didn't get to go to. It's supposed to be really cool. Yeah, the shark diving you have to do. Like you're gonna take her. Yeah. Well, you know what? If you don't want to go into the cage, it's a better view. Like it's really cool to be in the water and see it, but the better view is to look, and then you can see the sharks coming at people and stuff. Like, and the water is really clear. So. Where they take you to the company that I went to, they take you to what's it called, Shark Alley, where like they film like half the stuff in Shark Alley. And Shark Alley is Seal Island, is right there, and it's between the mainland and Seal Island. They chum it. Yeah. Yeah. So some people are think, but then they say it's ethical because they make you watch a video why it's ethical. So I don't know where the line is. I don't understand anything about it. Actually, if you wanted to be there longer, they take volunteers to man boats and stuff. So it's free if you go there for like. Yeah. See, that's another thing you can do to travel cheaply is volunteer at hostels. If you volunteer to staff a hostel, you get free lodging and accommodation. Sometimes a lot of food even and stuff like that. You can like volunteer at places like the Shark Cage. Like other really unique ways to travel for cheaply by volunteering. Sorry, my English isn't that great. Yeah. So, yeah. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
I just really want to do
yeah, so it's right before, it's in Simonstown, just before you hit the Cape of Good Hope. But it's on a certain yeah, you're on the if Google Maps doesn't work for you while you're traveling, there's an app that I don't have it anymore, but it's an app and navigation to the places you want to go in South Africa. And it worked out really well for us. So that's how we got to Fuller's Beach and back. Getting back is the hard part. Oh, another thing about South Africa is before a stop sign, they say robot. There are just signs that say robot. And robots are what they call stoplight. So I was so confused, like, why does the road say robot? You know, like it's like FedExing signs on the road. It says robot. Yeah. And then they have precaution signs. They have like triangles with exclamation points. And then it has a word on the bottom of what it is. Sometimes it's like children or like pedestrians, you know, typical things. But closer to the Cape of Good Hope, it says baboons. Yeah, and then there are wild baboons there. So, yeah. I have my favorite sign is like I stop on the side of the road, take a picture of a sign and it says exclamation point. So, yeah. Yeah. Let me know. But I'm thinking you're talking about packing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Thanks.